You're listening to episode 5 of The Bandwagon Fan. This is the show where we talk all things pop culture. I'm Josh.
I'm AJ.
And I'm Alex.
Gents, how are you doing tonight?
Well, you got the intro right.
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Started off okay.
Yeah.
You started out all right. Let me
Not
tell
too
you, I'm
shabby.
tired. For those of you listening who don't know, I work in the glorious field of education, and let me tell you, these kids do not want to be there. You know what? The adults don't want to be there either. We're all
draining
tired.
you, man.
I am tired. But you know what? I enjoy our conversations, so I'm ready for this.
Yeah, it gives
No
me
one wants
life.
to be there. Yeah.
Gives me my second win.
And if you're listening, you give us life too.
Yeah.
Aw.
All 7 of you guys. We appreciate you guys.
Yep. Especially whoever is in I don't know if it's Hessen in Germany.
Germany?
It
Yeah.
tells
We
you
got one.
it tells you the state. So if that's where you're from, I'd definitely butcher it.
I feel like
Please.
it's a lot. There's no way it can be a real person.
Hey man,
Yeah.
if you're a real person and you're listening, I know I said your
Thanks.
state wrong. Tell us what it's actually called.
Yeah, yell at us.
Whichever
whoever.
whichever Russian bot's in Ukraine. Thanks. Say hi to Putin for us.
Thank you, bots.
Oh man.
But anyways,
What's on the board?
Let's talk current events, starting
Yeah.
with The Witcher Season 2. I had the cool opportunity to watch the first episode early. I
Yeah.
watched it. What day is it even now? It's Thursday. We record on
Thursday.
Thursdays, guys.
Yeah.
Ladies, gentlemen, non-binary, whoever you are. Wednesday night, I got to watch the first episode.
Yeah.
Because of ReadPop, C2E2 bought a ticket, so you got a early access code, and there's a Q&A with Henry Cavill afterwards.
Okay.
Episode was really cool. If you have read the books or played the games, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. In the trailers, you saw him using more signs, so you got to see that as well in the episode. Not going to spoil anything. Just going to say
just one
I
minor
really enjoyed
spoiler.
it.
Just spoil the whole
Oh,
thing.
you know what?
I need
By the
who
time
dies-
it airs,
Who
by the time
dies
this
at the end?
airs, you will have seen it if you wanted to.
I just want to know one thing. Was there
One-
an epic monster fight?
Oh, there was a
It has
really,
to be.
Okay,
It was
things.
actually terrifying too.
Was it a
It was
tentacle?
actually scary.
Was it a tentacle monster?
No, I can't remember what it was called, but actually, I think the storyline came from one of either the comics or the books.
Comics, I think. Yeah.
It
I
was
know
a
they're
comic.
borrowing a lot from the literature. Yeah.
Okay, because there was a comic that I read recently. It's like this guy gets a curse, but he's in love with this evil spirit type of thing, and yeah, it does not end well
You
for
know how to
anybody
read?
there. Allegedly,
Yeah.
debatable.
yeah, you get to see him use some signs, and I'm excited for this. It got
Right.
scary, so I'm down
just
for
happy.
that too.
I'm just happy Henry Cavill's staying. You know, he has a
Right,
tendency to kind of.
he's staying with the project for once.
Yeah, he has a tendency
peace
to
out.
be a little flighty when it comes to projects. So I'm just happy he's still there.
Well, you know what? He's a huge Witcher fan, and
I think that's probably a big part of it.
It is.
Yeah, that makes it better.
The game. He's beaten the game twice, the third one,
Yeah,
and
How many controllers did he break?
probably a couple. he tore his hamstring. That's why they had to stop filming for a
Oh,
while.
jeez.
Oh, really?
But
Wow.
he's kind of. He said he doesn't like try to correct people, but he'll be like, "Oh, so and so wouldn't say that, or this would look like that," because he actually knows what he's talking about. So I do think that's why he stuck with it. Do you know he does Warhammer? He like paints the little figurines and plays.
Really?
He's gotta play
What a
that.
nerd!
He's
Oh,
gotta play
wow!
That's
Yeah.
What a
crazy.
nerd! That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Would not be
Wow.
surprised if he plays Magic too.
Nah, dude. Nah,
Hey,
that's crazy.
We've all played Magic at least
Nope.
once.
Not we.
We've all done that one sad tournament.
I
And,
played Pokemon.
or maybe
Yeah.
I'm the only one that's done a sad Magic tournament. They're all
But-
sad. Like, I'm sorry if you play Magic, like that's fine, but like every tournament's sad. It's just like it's guaranteed.
It's a hobby, I guess. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's so
that's one of
funny.
one of his hobbies. He actually reads comments on like social media, so he like puts himself under pressure to get the show right. And I feel like
Interesting.
there's a large uptick in, I don't know if quality is the right word. I just enjoyed this a lot more than a lot of season 1.
Well, they probably put a lot more behind it
Right.
in terms of production. So
Right.
yeah.
So we'll see where that goes. Going into some video games, have you guys ever played Senua's Sacrifice? Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice?
Hellblade. I
No.
started it. It's on my to playlist. I've started it a little bit. It's free on Game Pass.
Yep.
If you are out there, I hear it's a highly rated game. And the sequel's coming around the corner, right?
Yep, that's what I was about to talk about. I love the first game. I've beaten it twice.
Wow.
And what's really cool is you play a Pictish woman who her lover gets killed by Vikings, and then she goes on a journey into the underworld to try to get his soul back. Plot twist, she suffers from psychosis.
Right.
And so you don't know what's real.
You don't know
what's really cool.
You showed me this before.
I did. The developers consulted with different mental health experts and people who actually have psychosis and like schizophrenia, stuff like that, so they could actually make it feel like
so they could profit off it. No,
it was a cathartic experience. There's a behind the scenes video. They did a lot of behind the scenes work with it. Like you can watch it online and stuff.
Okay.
And that was really cool. Like they really wanted to create a window into that world. And for me, after playing it, like I can sympathize a lot more with people who suffer with that. Like I cannot imagine.
Yeah. That sounds terrifying in VR if that becomes an option.
Yeah. Like you play it by yourself, lights off, headphones on. It'll scare you, but it's so cool because she's a boss.
I love pissing myself when I play video games.
Yeah, I don't. I can barely do like Resident Evil 2 on like N64. Like even that's like pretty scary to me.
You would hate the remaster. The remasters are like.
Yep. No.
Yeah, it's blood curdling. It's insane.
I'm good. I don't need that in my life.
Oh my
hey man, whatever floats your boat. And then the last thing that I had was there's a Moon Girl TV show coming out. Nobody probably knows what that is.
I don't know who that is.
Is that like Squirrel Girl?
No, she's a Marvel character.
Does she turn into the moon?
No, she's just a little girl, little black girl. I think she's like 10. She's like one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe. And then I guess she has a dinosaur.
Okay.
Don't know. I'm excited to see what
they're making a TV show?
It's gonna be animated.
You're not selling this for me.
I think that would work if it's like Steven Universe style of like a TV show.
What does she do? Like, what's her? I don't understand what her power is.
It's black girl magic, bro.
Oh, all right.
No, she's she's literally supposed to be one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe. Like smarter.
She's smarter than Tony Stark and Mr. Fantastic, I think, right?
Yeah, it's like debatable if her or Reed is the smarter person.
The smarter person, right?
Actually, I think Franklin Richards is supposed to be the smartest.
I guess we need somebody in the universe that like doesn't necessarily just like have super strength or something that everyone else has.
It's interesting that they've been able to get this far without Reed Richards. Or what's his name? Richard Reed's or Mr. Fantastic.
Reed Richards, yeah.
Reed Richards, yeah. It's really weird that they've been able to get this far because he's such a catalyst for like, Ultron.
Oh, he does so much in the comics.
Time travel. Like he's very critical to a lot of these things. So I have a feeling like I have the faintest of feelings that whatever closes the multiverse in this current MCU run will be a result of whatever he's doing. I have a feeling.
That's what I think too. It would make sense.
It would make a lot of sense.
And also,
I have a feeling that's how they're going to introduce him.
I think he'll be not from the cinematic universe.
I don't think so either.
Comes from a different universe.
He'll come from a different universe.
Like you were saying with the X-Men. It's not like he's just been like hiding out somewhere.
Spoiler alert.
Of what?
Well, for anyone who hasn't watched Loki, the TV show,
I think
they dropped major hints. So I think they dropped major hints with the introduction of King the Conqueror. I think they dropped major hints that would happen.
Yes.
So that's my yeah.
Which he plays a huge role in that in the comics, like him and the Illuminati. I don't know if you guys know the Illuminati is in Marvel.
Yes, in Marvel, yes, that I do know.
Yeah, but that's like a deep rabbit hole. Let's not get into that.
Yeah, I'll just end up dipping. You guys can just like talk about that for the next 45 minutes, and I'll come back and I'll be like, all right, that's a wrap.
Welcome to the Illuminati podcast. If you're listening, you're already halfway there.
And if you want to join, you're gonna have to wait until episode 10. See, now we got to wait until we're our fans and listening more.
And it cost 13 Bitcoin.
13 Bitcoin, please.
Yeah,
that's a steep price.
I don't make the rules. I just follow them. Okay.
I think it's worth it. In non-comic news, and kind of game news, so I'm a big Dr. Dre fan, and I saw that he just he just debuted a new album, and it's like his first one since Compton, which came out in like 2015.
2015, yep.
Not releasing, which was already like, I can't remember the time period then, but it had been like, I think at least a decade since his previous album.
15 years.
Yeah. So like, you don't hear much music from him at this point. And the fact that he released his new record specifically through Grand Theft Auto, like, just blows my mind. Like, I want to know how much GTA paid to have Dr. Dre exclusively drop something.
I mean, they probably paid him they probably paid. Take-Two they have the bankroll. They have the money to do that. But
he stars in the game too. I think
he's in the game. Yeah, he is in the game. Him and the actor that played Franklin, they're both in the game.
Oh, from Straight Outta Compton. Oh no, Franklin,
no. Franklin from the character from Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, they're both in the game. I guess it's like the first. I guess you can call it real DLC that they've been adding to Grand Theft Auto since Online came out. And it makes sense because Dr. Dre is, he is LA and the game is literally in LA. So it makes sense.
I mean, say what you want about Grand Theft Auto. I think it's cool, like, that they're at least trying to add in artists that have to do with the community of the location of whatever world they're creating.
What was really interesting to me is like a lot of kids play this game, which if you're a parent and you let your kid play this, you need to examine yourself.
Please don't.
It's cool that they'll get to hear this music because I feel like a lot of people have forgotten about Dre.
Hey man, it happens.
Don't forget about Dre.
It's partially Dr. Dre's fault, right? I mean, he just
100%.
intentionally stepped away from music to
I don't think he cares.
Stuff,
like he did what he wanted.
He could care less. Yeah, he really could care less. Yeah,
I mean, I think all these bigger artists, they it's okay for them to kind of go under the radar for a bit. I mean, even the next one I want to talk about is Big Boy and Sleepy Brown, and Big Boy's barely done anything recently. Yeah,
well, Andre 3000's lost his mind, so I don't blame him.
Yeah, but Big Boy's side projects, I like them when he releases them, but they're not very often. Sleepy Brown is from Organized Noise, which was if I'm correct, it's an original crew of people within the Outcast scene. So you had Big Mike of Run the Jewels, Killer Mike
Mm-hmm.
before. I feel like before anyone really knew him. Sleepy Brown hasn't made anything, I think, since 2006.
A long time.
Yeah. So I just thought that was cool that I saw Dr. Dre dropping this and Big Boy and Sleepy Brown dropping stuff just around the same week. So it's kind of a cool way to close off the end of the year.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, speaking of video games, remember last week I was telling you guys that Ubisoft, in their infinite wisdom, they try to get away with dropping NFTs.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I explained that. I guess I thought about it, and I realized after getting a haircut the next day, talking to my barber who was talking to me about it, that a lot of people don't really understand what NFTs are. Do you guys understand what NFTs are in the first place?
A scam.
It's you buy something that's linked to like a crypto.
Not even.
Blockchain?
Oh, so it is tied to a blockchain. An NFT is a digital receipt. That's it. That's all it is. It was originally created so that someone who it was originally created so it would deter art thievery. If Banksy were to sell something to auction, he could essentially supply an NFT with it, so it came from Banksy. That was kind of the idea behind it. And I think a lot of people over time, they are using this as a means, like Alex said earlier, to just run scams. And because the reality is there really isn't a fundamental application to it other than what I just described, right? Mm-hmm. Being able to give a digital signature, digital receipt to a physical item, right? So since we've spoken, 2 more game studios have already announced that their games will have NFTs. And one of them I think is really hilarious. So Stalker, I don't know if you guys ever played Stalker, the original one, really scary, really cool first-person shooter game. Most people probably didn't get a chance to play it because it was I think it came out on the PC first, and it had a huge PC following, and you had to have like a kind of powerful PC back when like running Crysis was like a meme.
Yeah,
I recognize the cover for these games. You know what? I actually own one of these.
That's what I'm saying. You've probably seen the series because eventually they ported them to Xbox.
No, I own them.
I know it from YouTube.
Steam. I have them through my Steam library.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. I've never played them. They're just there.
Do you guys know Life of Boris on YouTube?
Life of Vague. Oh yeah. Yes,
he plays soccer. He loves
he does.
Game.
Yes, he loves that game. Yes.
With his vodka-cooled PC.
Yes. Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So it's a really fun game. But unfortunately, they announced that they're going to be including NFTs into their game, especially like game-breaking NFTs, and that's utter BS. That is just utter BS. There's no fundamental purpose of trying to create NFTs in your game. The whole idea of an NFT, right, is a centralized location for digital receipts. But video games are already centralized, right? Think of Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike already has the ability to give you to allow you to purchase like skins and stuff. You don't need an NFT to do that. And hilariously enough, another game studio announced that they are also going to be including NFTs in their next game, and that is Molineux Studios. Do you guys know who that is?
No, but I'm already disappointed.
Okay, so Peter Molineux is the self-proclaimed genius, as he created games
from Fable?
like Fable,
and, Black
and White, and there's an RTS game I think he also created as well.
Sorry, the guy that's really, really good at just pulling nothing out of his ass.
I'm so glad you brought that up because he is infamous. He is infamous for being a industry-wide grifter, a scammer. Most notably known for overselling like things that were going to be in his games, and like a quarter of those things end up being in the games. So it's really hilarious that he's like, my next game, NFTs. And these people expect people to run to them. This is a bad idea, guys.
That does not surprise me. Like, he is already a scam artist. Like,
yes, he's already a scam artist. Like if you hated loot boxes and you hate like the way these online stores are being run for within a video game, this is only going to make the problem worse. This is only going to make it more frustrating to get items. Eventually, you're going to have games who just have items exclusively through an NFT. This is bad. This is really bad for gaming. I knew this was going to happen. I just didn't think it was going to happen this fast. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Here we go. Let's just see how it unfolds. I already know it's going to be a disaster, but like,
it is going to be a disaster. And unfortunately, you're just going to have people, kids, whoever, you're just going to have people buy it. Like that's just the reality. Like, some people don't care enough to care, so they're just gonna be like, all right, I'll pay $15 for an NFT. Oh, this is so stupid. I can't believe we're talking about this. That is so crazy.
What a time to be alive. But
man,
I have some better news.
Okay,
let's hear it.
The Blue Beetle film that was going to be on HBO Max is now going to get a theatrical release
along with its HBO Max release.
I don't know if it'll be both, but it is getting a theatrical release August 18th, 2023.
HBO was talking about not doing that for long term. I think they were just doing it during COVID.
But they don't have content on their streaming platform, so I think that's the bigger catalyst for why they're doing that.
Well, I'm glad they're doing it, man. I'm really excited for this. For those of you who don't know, the current Blue Beetle, the one that'll be depicted in the film, is a Latino teenager. And we talked about this last episode. Like, I'm just really happy to see that representation.
Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Finally, Latino characters in a TV show or movie that aren't villains.
Right. Yeah. I was at my LCS talking to some people. I was like, "Can you name any?" And the shop owner's like, "I don't know." And the guy the other guy who was there, it took him a while, and he finally come up with some like obscure X-Men guy, which I was like, "That's cool." But I was like, "You see my point?" Like.
But yeah, really think about
it. It is a good point. Yeah.
Well, maybe this will be a game changer. I hope it's like a success, and
I hope it's good.
Opening avenues for other people. Yeah.
Hopefully they don't rush it.
So, Alex, what'd you watch this week?
Was that a pun or not? Because you said
it definitely was.
Hopefully not to rush it.
100% was.
Rushmore.
Yes.
Get it?
So did I. I watched it too.
We are the worst.
I'm mad at you, by the way,
All
for
right.
making me watch a Wes Anderson film after I explicitly said before I cannot stand Wes Anderson films, sir.
You know what's great though? It's like I can't even be like, oh, it's not that Wes Anderson, because every Wes Anderson movie is still
every
so
Wes
Wes
Anderson.
Anderson.
Yes.
Like his formula is so like it's so down to a T that like this movie came out in 1998. It was my
This is the
first
second
time
film.
watching it. Yeah, second film, but it's still
Second
like
film.
it held up like a current Wes Anderson film. Like
Mhm.
I couldn't even tell what year I was in, like watching it at some points, because like it didn't look like 1998 to me. But I think that's just because like his dialogue, his like first person framing, symmetry, it's always just been there. And
So we got some time. Why don't you explain to Josh like what the movie's about?
yeah. Josh, have you seen any Wes Anderson film? I think you said no,
I
right?
have not. I was looking them up when you said what you were watching, and I've heard his name around so many times. Never seen any of his films.
Okay. I mean, to be fair, I'd never watched any of his films until a couple years ago, and like I'd heard the name a bunch as well. Rushmore, yeah, it's his second film, and it's got it actually has a pretty cool cast. It has all three Owen Wilson, like all three brothers of or the entire family of the Wilsons. So it's Owen Wilson, Andrew Wilson, and I forgot the third Wilson. Luke Wilson. So all three of them are in this.
Owen Wilson co-wrote the movie.
Yeah, he co-wrote it with Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
He's not like, I don't want to spoil this part, but like he's in it, but he's not really like.
I mean, you might as well. The movie came out 20-something years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's like.
Yeah.
20. Yeah, just spoil it. 22 years ago. That's spoiler free, baby.
I was gonna say he plays a deceased husband, so it's like he's not.
Okay.
He's just like a photograph, basically. In the film, which is kind of cool.
Which is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of crazy because like Jason Schwartzman, this has got to be the youngest role I've seen him in, but he plays this character Max Fisher, and he basically just like goes to this like prep school called Rushmore Academy, and he's like I don't know, it's like the best way to describe him, I feel like, is he's like high spirited, like can do attitude, but he's also like kind of a sociopath and
a narcissist.
Yeah, he's a hardcore narcissist, but he's
narcissist.
But he's charming in this like bizarre way, because I feel like the way he like takes on the world is like it's not just like, oh, I'm going to do one thing and do it really well. He runs like almost every film club or every type of club in
every type of like extracurricular club you can think of.
Is he like actually a narcissist? Like diagnosed?
He's definitely
not diagnosed, but he could use therapy. Let's just put it that way.
But you can tell.
Okay. Yeah.
The fact that he's such like an overachiever, like, I was like, that tracks.
And he like he definitely. He lies about a lot of things too. Like he lies about like what his dad does for a living to like make his life sound like more interesting. But it's just like it's so bizarre because like all of his friendships in the film like don't come off as like people who I would think would hang out with him.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, he's got like he's got like friends that are like at least like 3 to 5 grades below him, and then he has like Herman Bloom, which is Bill Murray's character. 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
Like that's like his friendship group. I don't know.
It's like I felt like, so I'll let you continue first before I say anything else. Yeah. No, it's just I loved it because like I'm a huge fan of Wes Anderson, and this was like, at least of what I've seen, this was definitely the lowest budget film I've seen of his. Like, yes,
there's not
by far.
Yeah, there's not that many locations. Like if you compare it, especially to like French Dispatch, where it's like literally every scene in that movie is like a new prop or a new location,
or Grand Budapest Hotel, which is like over the top in terms of his budget.
Yeah,
if you've
exactly.
ever seen the movie, yeah.
This is like a lot of recycled location. It looks like they just shot a lot of stuff like run and gun. This was Wes Anderson's first time working with Bill Murray, and I didn't know this until I looked into it. Bill Murray like loved the script so much that he decided to work for scale, which is basically like where he just agrees to work like the minimum minimum pay and like working conditions that the Screen Actors Guild sets,
Yeah,
which
Oh,
is like a
I
pretty
did
rare
see
thing.
that. I looked that up. That was really interesting.
Because this is his second film, so I mean the budget. I mean it had to be really low. This is an Owen Wilson when they were. I can't even think what movie they did before this. The Wilson brothers. I don't even know. I mean,
When did
there's
High
no.
Noon come out?
Yeah, High Noon came out in the year 2000. So I mean that's way before any significant or prominent either Owen or Luke Wilson were in a role of any
and Jason Schwartzman
and it's really funny you mentioned that that all those brothers were in there, because I think a really funny joke that I don't know if you caught this, Alex, but in the movie, the plot of the movie is basically that what's his name, Max?
Yeah, Max.
Max falls
Max
in love
Fisher.
with a teacher at the school. And he, as Alex had explained before, he's a very motivated person. He's a very dedicated and motivated person to what he quote unquote loves. And so because he loves her, he's trying to like do all these things to fall in love with her. Right. And there's this like very like awkward, like attraction that they have to each other, even though she's like presumably like a 35-year-old woman and he's 15 years old.
Wait,
But what made me laugh is, like Alex said, that Luke Wilson is shown to be her dead husband in a photograph, right? It was like a photograph that you see. And she
Owen Wilson's character.
No, Owen Wilson's character is in the movie, if you remember. Owen Wilson is the guy that she goes on the date she brings to Max's show. That's Owen Wilson. Luke Wilson, I think, is the one in the photo.
I think it's the other way. I thought it was the other way around. They look so similar.
They look similar, but I'm telling you that's right. Owen Wilson is the one physically in the movie. And so I think this is, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because this is Wes Anderson's sense of humor, because Owen Wilson, as we all know, looks a lot like Luke Wilson. And what's the actor's name? Jason Schwartzman, especially at that age, looks like both of them. He looks like a Wilson brother. So like that's the joke throughout the movie, that she's attracted to the same person. You see the joke? And so like it's one of those things in the Wes Anderson movies where I'm just like, there's a lot of thought in this movie. I mean, the movie's part of the Criterion Collection. I don't know if you know that.
What does that mean? So
the Criterion Collection, it's like this giant pool of movies that over time filmmakers, not just filmmakers, like anyone, like movie reviewers, filmmakers, actors, whatever. I think the requirement is just being part of like the Screen Actors Guild and whatever. But like basically, it's just a giant compilation of what people think is like the best movie of all time. And then like every couple of years, they release like a volume, almost like an encyclopedia. Like, oh, that's a really good way to describe it. It's like a video. It's like a movie encyclopedia. And so a movie that's entered and accepted into the Criterion is a movie that either technically there's some technical component to why the people felt like it was really good. And what made this movie so interesting is that, and this is probably why Wes Anderson has gotten so many like jobs after this, is because it's technically very impressive. Like the cinematography in this movie, it's something about Wes Anderson films that even though I don't love his movies, they look amazing. They look vivid. They're always unique. He has a very, very unique cinematography technique.
Yeah, everything's
first framed. Everything's first person. Everything is framed in this way that I think under other directors can come off as kind of awkward. It's almost like as if like the best way I describe Wes Anderson's like film style, it's like somebody perfected the high school film movie. That's like that's what this movie feels like. Like it's just like absolutely perfected this when you're in high school, you don't have the best equipment or the best technique, so you have to compensate for that. That Wes Anderson has like mastered that. And it makes sense. This movie is a combination of Owen Wilson and Wes Anderson's life. Wes Anderson went to like a private school that he used to write plays for. and Owen Wilson got kicked out of his private school when he was a kid.
Wait,
so
for what? Do we know why?
I couldn't find for what, but I know that like that, you know, this movie, it is a coming of age movie. So you can see where both writers are putting their spin on the misunderstood.
It's semi-autobiographical.
Yeah. It's and because of, you know, both of their lives. So to that degree, I thought that was interesting. But like Alex was saying earlier, that you know, Wes Anderson, he has this very particular formula for his movies. And like, I mean, at one point, Jason Schwartzman's character Max is trying to kill Bill Murray, which was like
legit
weird.
Kill him.
Yes, he was trying to murder him.
Like kill.
Okay. Yeah.
Wait, is this the narcissist character?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Narcissist. Okay. I'm curious what you, AJ, what you don't like about his films or this film.
I know this is going to sound weird. I don't know when to laugh. Like, see, I don't like.
Like, you want a laugh track or like, what?
So here, let me put it this way: the things that I found funny, I'm like, I don't know if that was supposed to be the funny part. Like the thing with like, okay, so the only part the only time in the movie I actually got like an audible reaction was, you know, as Alex explained, that Max, the main character, he makes friendships. Like his whole thing is that like he's a very charismatic person and people are drawn to him. So one of his friends, he's like 5 years younger than him. He's a kid. And so there's a point where the reason why Max is trying to kill Bill Murray's character, Herman, I think that's his name.
Yeah, Herman.
The reason why he's trying to kill him is because Herman has sex and starts a relationship with that teacher that Max is infatuated with.
And thinks that she deserves, like, that deserves him.
Yes. It thinks that, yeah, exactly. So the way that this is kind of like the film, like the way Wes Anderson kind of shows us what happened is that Herman, Bill Murray's character, gets caught by the little kid. And the little kid's like, you know, he's basically blackmailing him. He's like, I'm not going to tell Max what you did, but this has to stop. And then he spits on his car. That's the only time I laughed. I thought that was just, it was just delivered so perfectly that it made me laugh.
I love that, but like I love that the entire film is just awkward, kind of subtle humor. Like there's a scene where Herman, this is before Max knows that Herman likes the teacher, Rosemary. So like there's just like this part where like Max has kind of been getting in trouble with her because he's been too aggressive, and she's kind of like telling him to back off, and like he wants Herman to go spy on her. So she's like at a park like with kids, and he's just like standing behind this tree, like maybe like 20 yards away, but it's very obvious that he's like not hiding very well, and she like totally spots him. And he just goes back to hiding behind the tree, and it waits for what's like 10 seconds, and then he like creeps his head back, and she's just like, were you spying on me? And he's just like, no. And then he like subtly like comes out of the frame like from the tree, and like I just love like really like just dumb.
It's the delivery like too. Yeah, it's the way that like I think that's so. This is my. You asked earlier like things I don't like. It's just that Wes Anderson has this incredible ability to make things look like amazing, beautiful, and then the performances that he gets out of the actors in his movies, they're always great. I mean, I thought everyone did a good job. It's just like I felt the cadence and the pacing of the movie was just strange. Like, and that's the way I feel about every Wes Anderson movie. That the pacing, like, I never feel like the movie is making a very tangible point. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost making like a bunch of mini points, and you're supposed to kind of just pull from it what you like, I guess. And I guess that's the point.
That's kind of
is that like one like a case where like you feel like you're watching a movie because of the pacing? Is it that kind of a thing?
Yeah, like I'm aware I'm watching a movie, but I'm not. It's not clear to me what I think it's ethos. What the ethos of the director is. It's the same exact issue I have with Zack Snyder. I think Zack Snyder is an incredible cinematographer and has. I mean, Sin City. like stylistically, I always said that Sin City, he does not get enough credit for the way he took a comic book that is written in black and white and brought it to life. Like he doesn't get enough credit for that, but it's amazing. Even 300, as much of a meathead movie that is, it's filmed in such a unique way. That's how I feel about Wes Anderson films. That like they're filmed in such a unique way that like they're so interesting to watch and they're so engaging. Not to bore anyone of our listeners with like just cinematography talk, but like he does so many clever things. I'll give an example of like why his cinematography is always top notch and why his movies are always critically acclaimed. Is that he does this thing where he tells you so much about each character without the dialogue ever matching like what's going on in each other's lives, right? So as Alex and I had explained, that Herman started a relationship with this teacher behind Max's back, and it created friction behind them. But as you understand throughout the movie, that Herman always felt guilty about it. You know what I mean? It's not like he did it to hurt Max. He just couldn't. He's human, right? So when their friendship, you're slowly watching Herman after he does this. You're slowly watching this man's life deteriorate, but it's all done through the genius of Bill Murray, just like his demeanor. When this affair starts, because he's married in the movie. So when this affair starts, he starts smoking a little bit more. He starts letting himself go a little bit more. He starts visibly drinking a lot more.
His attitude changes.
His attitude it changes drastically, and it's a cinematography technique that like when it gets to near the end of the film, and Max and him make up. And then Max gets him a haircut, and then you see like the difference in his character. But at no point does anyone ever like really say it or point it. There's not this scene where he's like, I'm sad. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the gift, I guess you could say, that Wes Anderson has in cinematography.
See, I love that. Yeah. I don't want to watch a Wes Anderson film and have it feel like other films. I like that everything isn't always pointed out through the dialogue. A lot of it's pointed out either through the music, the colors. He always has like a specific color scheme that he sticks to. Yep. Even just like the locations. I think he's just like, when I watch a Wes Anderson film, it puts me in a world that's just very, very different than from what I'm like it feels very different from real life. And it has a lot of themes that like I can relate to, but it also just like, I don't know. I know that it's going to be something that I'm most likely not going to see with someone else outside of, like directors that have been influenced by him. But I can see why that's a turnoff, but like it's definitely like a thing that I love.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think I feel bad because I'm like, these movies are technically sound, right? Like like in terms of like I mean, that's why so many of his movies are in the Criterion. Because his films are technically sound. But I just feel like in terms of the story, I watched it and I'm like, I could probably spend my whole life and never watch it again. Just because I didn't feel like there was anything to pull from.
I think it showed a lot of like a 15-year-old kid thinking that he rules the world, and then like realizes like how some of his actions have ended up hurting people. And I think the play wraps that up. The way that he like talks to the older kid, the Scottish kid who like was the bully throughout the movie, and you find out that it's like Max was actually the bully.
He's equally, exactly. He was the bully, and they were equally misunderstood. Yeah,
I'd be curious then to hear from both of you what your favorite Wes Anderson movie is then. And AJ, you do have to pick one.
I do have one. Yeah.
Okay.
I think Grand Budapest Hotel is his best movie.
Yeah.
It's a little long, but it is. I mean, again, it's so aggravating because it is technically excellent. It is like it's basically, if you are trying to be if you're a film student or you want to go into film, whether it be cinematography or production or whatever, like Wes Anderson has so many things to pull from. And I think Grand Budapest Hotel is probably the one I don't know why I've watched so many Wes Anderson films that I think about this, but but Grand Budapest Hotel is probably the one where I'm like, this movie looks immaculate. It is, and the story I think is, the story's okay. Not to get into it, but the story's fine. But
I love
I just
the story.
felt like
I think the total opposite. Like,
oh, really? That's so funny.
I mean, it's definitely very similar to like a Pink Panther type film. But I think every character in that is phenomenal. The dialogue is hilarious. It's still tough for me to guess though between that or Moonrise Kingdom and which one I like more.
I would love if Wes Anderson delved his hand in more genre specific type of movies. I was thinking about this after watching this movie that I would love to see what he would do if he filmed a horror movie.
There's actually an SNL skit on that.
I know that sounds insane, but I think he would. I think his humor and his, I guess because he has a dark sense of humor. So he has a dark sense of humor, and his film style, his direction style. I think he could make one crazy, just like how who's the guy who directs Hereditary and Hereditary and the other one that just came out. Yes, Midsummer. Thank you. I think it's Ari Foster. I think that's his name.
Yeah, Ari Oster.
Ari Oster. Yeah, Ari Oster. Okay, so that guy, that's a good example of like, with Midsummer, for example. That's one of the few times you watch a horror movie that takes place in the sun.
Yeah,
think about it.
There's something not right with that guy.
In fact, he removed a scene that took place at night because he wanted to maintain that like aesthetic of just like always in the sun. You know what I mean? Because and he was talking about how like, with horror films, so many people use the dark and that's like a cheat to make you to get into a mood. I feel like Wes Anderson's the type of person who can definitely like encapsulate.
But yeah, there's a whole SNL skit already on that. And
I gotta check that.
They make a fake horror movie, but it's filmed exactly like a Wes Anderson film.
Like a Wes Anderson film? Yeah.
But it's so good. Like,
that's my point. That's what I'm saying.
But I want to know who directed the SNL skit because it looks exactly like exactly like a Wes Anderson movie.
A film student who has studied Wes Anderson. I'm telling you, technically, in terms of like technical ability, I wouldn't recommend anyone else if you're trying to learn film. I mean, the guy is immaculate at it. I just don't feel like the stories match the level of technical ability put into the film.
So, I disagree, but he's not for everyone.
Not for everyone. It's not for everyone.
So I should watch the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Watch Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, start with that. And honestly, if you don't like it, then
if you don't like it, that's fine. That's a really good point. You watch Grand Budapest Hotel, and if you love it, you will love all of Wes Anderson's movies.
If you hate it, you will hate all of his movies.
You will hate all of Wes Anderson
because they are the exact same formula.
All right, and then
I recommend Rushmore, Wes Anderson. Check it out if you're AJ.
The Life
check it out.
The Life Aquatic of Steve Zissou, whatever it's called, but also with Bill Murray is also pretty good too.
With Steve Zissou.
Okay.
I still don't know how to say that name.
If you're,
that's actually my least favorite one I think I've seen. Well, no, Isle of Dogs is my least favorite one.
I forgot about that. Yeah. That was a recent one, right?
Yeah, 2018.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. I hate that movie.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's boring. Oh, I don't know so much.
Wes Anderson's not for everyone. If you're late to the train, give one of his films a shot and tell us which side you're on, Team AJ or Team Alex.
Or get on the bandwagon.
Oh, he said the thing. Oh, no. He said the thing.
Oh, my God. I'm the worst.
Cringe level 100. Oh, my goodness. That was our one rule. The podcast is going to be disbanded now.
You guys can continue the episode without me.
Well, Josh, did you bandwagon last weekend?
Yeah. Tell us about your weekend.
Oh, did I? I went to C2E2. And for those of you who aren't nerds, it's the Chicago Comic Con. C2E2 is the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. It was the first one since the pandemic, so I was very hyped.
Wait, did you wear deodorant?
First C2E2?
In-person con.
Wait, really? In the whole country?
Since, in Chicago.
Oh,
C2E2 is Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago.
Okay. I know, but I'm saying like I thought you were saying
no.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was the first C2E2 since the pandemic, so I was really hyped. I know AJ has gone before. Alex, I don't know if you've ever been to any cons.
Yeah, I've been to
Please.
MetaCon in Minneapolis, and unfortunately, I worked at Anime Con, and it was
Please
fun.
answer Alex's question though. Did you wear deodorant?
Yeah, did you wear? Yeah, don't
you know
dodge
what?
the question, Josh.
You know what? It actually there wasn't the con funk.
I don't know.
Lies.
I don't believe it.
I need a
I'm
jar.
serious.
I need a jar.
Mask. It's the face mask.
I think that played a part in it.
That's probably it. Yeah, you're probably right.
Did you wear an N95 mask? Because that mask.
No, I wore a regular old cloth mask.
I don't know. I bet the smells were just as bad. You've just been inside longer this year, and you're used to it.
That musk, that Comic-Con musk, man. Let me tell you,
it was not as bad. I was very impressed.
Pikachus were there?
Oh yeah, what was the most? What was the most common costume that you saw?
Was it Matrix?
There was a lot of Harleys. There was a lot of Ravens from Teen Titans.
From the show?
No, from the cartoon, like the comics.
Well, because I asked because the show Titans is out.
Well, it wasn't that. It wasn't like emo girl, a leather jacket.
Yeah.
It was like the
cartoonish,
right, with the cape and all that stuff.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
That is surprising, actually.
There's a lot of Spider-Man. A lot of the usuals. The Raven surprised me the most, I think.
Yeah. I guess no big movie came out in the past
year. That is true.
So that's probably why.
Hello.
But are people going to walk around in a Fremen suit? Like that's
dress up as a sandworm. How awesome would that be?
I don't know. That's a very I unlike Harley Quinn, I don't know how interesting like a Fremen suit would be as a costume. You know what I'm saying?
I guess it'd have to be like Birds of Prey characters.
I did see a couple Harley Quinn from Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey, that's what I figured. Or Suicide Squad.
But her jacket she wears in Birds of Prey.
Yes,
the crazy yellow
one.
Yeah, I like the design. I saw a few of those, which was cool. It's a cool Harley look.
What was the coolest thing? Oh yeah, go ahead.
I went to a bunch of panels, and I did get to meet the current Harley Quinn writer.
Oh yeah, we saw you share that.
Yeah, and she has retweeted us a couple of times now.
That's cool,
dude. She is so cool. I'm going to be talking about her more in a minute.
What?
Let me look at my notes real quick. Yeah, I'm going to be talking about it in a second because I loved meeting her. I was fanboying so hard. I talked to her and Stephanie Williams back to back, who's writing the Nubia series, and then afterwards,
I don't know. What Nubia is.
She's in Amazon, like Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Like the same universe as Wonder Woman.
Same universe.
Yeah. She's the current queen of the Amazons right now.
Oh, no big deal.
Yeah.
Right. And as her name might imply, she's black, so that's exciting too. And Stephanie Williams, so you get that kind of representation to have the character and the writer.
Yeah, that's
sharing
awesome.
that. But after I talked to them, I was just like, What
do you do?
Like a nerd.
What did you go as?
I went as Death from East of West.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm on it. I just finished issue 7 of East of West, so I'm just getting.
We definitely will be talking about this.
I have many thoughts on it, but yes, we'll talk about it.
Let me finish it.
I actually think it's actually going to end up getting adapted. By the way, full disclaimer.
You know what? I'm down for it.
I
maybe
think
they'll redo the ending.
I hope they do.
Hey, maybe I'll like the ending.
I also went as Mr. Knight from Moon Knight. So if you follow us on our socials, which we'll talk about at the end, you can see what I was dressed as.
Dang. Who'd you go with?
I went with Wendy. She went as... Wendy? I did. She bought me the pass. 3-day pass.
Whoa!
I went all 3 days.
Wendy willingly went?
Yeah.
Wow. And that's a keeper.
Josh, who's Wendy for people who don't know?
And she's my girlfriend.
I'm trying to make him blush. So
sorry to disappoint all of our 52% listeners who identify as female.
Sorry, bot from Ukraine.
I know that bot
from Germany.
That bot's downvoting this podcast right now. Yeah. So what did Wendy go as?
She went as War.
What? You guys went as a couple costume?
Oh, we did.
Wait, War from East of West?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she went as America Chavez.
Dang, dude.
Which was really
costumes. Cool. Jeez, that's awesome.
Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, who wrote Harley Quinn, they loved Wendy's America Chavez.
America Chavez? Dang,
Yeah,
dude. I mean, she looks like
it.
America Chavez. I can see that.
Dude, yeah. She killed it.
Wow.
But yeah, let's get into the panels. The first one is very cool because we were talking about this, and it was called Who Owns Characters? Like, who owns the properties? And it's in regards to when a comic writer writes a story, like, who should own that?
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was like from a couple weeks ago. Yeah, Hawkeye. Yeah.
So Stephanie Williams, who's writing Nubia, Dan Parent, who writes for Archie. Alex, I know you love Archie.
Hey, I still want to read the Archie versus the Ramones or with the Ramones. I don't know what happens in it, but I have to see it.
If you watch Riverdale, I guess there's a character named Kevin, I think.
Riverdale is a total Twin Peaks ripoff, and I stopped watching it after one season.
Okay. But anyways, Dan Parent made that character.
That's a whole different talk.
And then there was also a guy named Dirk Vanover, who is a lawyer who like does this kind of stuff, like contracts and whatnot.
They brought a comic lawyer. That's insane. They did. That's awesome.
And like he was actually interested. Like, he wasn't like a dry pencil pusher kind of guy. Like, you could tell like he enjoys what he does.
Well, you're probably not going to be in that business unless if you're still like somewhat interested in comics.
You never know. You never know.
So what's the what's the synopsis? Who ends up owning it?
Well, no surprise, the publisher does.
Of course.
But what did surprise me is a lot of comic writers are work for hire.
Wow, even like established ones.
I don't know to what extent. I know Stephanie Williams, who's doing Nubia right now, she is a work for hire, and so she
Image doesn't take the rights from their comics.
They're supposed to be like creator owned or whatever, which is cool. But Stephanie Williams, who's writing Nubia, has created a bunch of new characters, and she doesn't own those. And she was talking about how like we don't get kickbacks. It'd be nice to get invited to the red carpet. Or there's one creator, they spelled his name wrong in the credits of some movie, which they didn't pay him, but they put his name in the credits and then they spelled it wrong.
Yeah, so I mean, these studios definitely can get like if you're a writer and if you create a character and the publisher ends up taking that character and using it in a greater form, you should definitely get some type of percentage.
You should, yes.
You should definitely
100%.
I don't understand how that's not a thing. Like that's insane.
Work for hire has been less common in the music industry over the past like decade, but that's because artists have really been fighting for that. And I think comic writers are just going to have to start like either unionizing or being more vocal about it. You need a Kanye West of the comic industry to like.
There was talk of that. There was talk of like a screenwriters guild or something. Dan Parent, who works on Archie, and one of his characters got adapted to Riverdale. He didn't officially get paid for that, but he was compensated, he said. So that was kind of cool. He also has his own title he owns called Die Kitty Die, because he said, I created this character, I don't own it. So then he wanted to make something that was his. And then Jimmy Palmiotti, I always can't say his name. Him and his wife used to work on Harley Quinn for years, and in a different panel I saw him in was saying how one reason you don't see a lot of new characters in big two comics, Marvel and DC, is because a lot of writers don't want to create a character that they're not going to get to own, and then they're not going to get paid for.
Well, it's really risky. That happened with didn't that happen with Superman with DC, the original writer? He sold. I believe he sold the rights to Superman for like $9,000 because like Superman wasn't a hit then. And then he ended up complaining about it later down the road, and like DC did give him like a chunk of change to kind of like be quiet about it, because I think they were releasing one of like the 70s Superman films.
I mean that just happened with The Witcher.
But it sucks when you don't know it.
Okay.
Yeah, but to be fair, he's like super anti like I feel like he's super anti like video game and like.
But it doesn't matter. He sold the rights. Yeah. You know what I mean? He sold the rights to it, and they tried to negotiate with him like a higher amount. He was just like, it doesn't matter. So that's his fault, you know.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, no, I feel like he's just kind of he's a little anti technology,
which is fine. Yeah. But in that panel, I asked the question like, what's the consumer responsibility? And the general consensus, and Stephanie Williams really, I remember her saying like, if there's something you like that's creator owned, or even if it's not, like, go support that. Like
go support the actual individual creator,
right? Like in any way you can. And like I remember who said this, but like if you really don't feel right supporting a title because of the way the creator team is being treated, like don't like find a different way to support them.
Interesting.
Which it was a good question. It was a good like answer from them. Like they were all like, "Oh, like that's a good question."
Yeah.
And what was funny, it was because then later on when I met Stephanie Williams, I was like, "Oh yeah, I asked the last question in the panel." She goes, "Oh, okay, yeah, you." Because I saw her like a couple more times throughout the weekend.
That's cool. Yeah.
Because then another panel I went to was about the Amazons, about Wonder Woman in the Amazons. And what's funny is Stephanie Williams, who's writing Nubia, and Joelle Jones, who created Yara Flor, the Brazilian Amazon, didn't like Wonder Woman until they had to write her.
It's like the Russo brothers. They hated Captain America, so they set out to make their own better version of Captain America.
Yeah, and like these two women, like they definitely like they've been killing it on their titles, man.
Yeah. I think that's cool. I think it's okay to like not necessarily like the original like art.
IP.
Yeah,
right.
IP.
Yeah,
right.
Because then you're just beholden to like doing what's already been done because you liked it.
And I don't want to just read the same thing over and over. Like I love when like new things appear with the same IP.
Right.
And like, if you want the traditional feel of it, then go read
the old stuff. Read the old stuff. Yeah. Now, I'm always down for new stuff. Both these women are doing that. Stephanie Williams has created the first trans Amazon.
Dang.
Really interesting. In the current mythology, Amazons are women who were killed or like hurt by men in our world, and when they die, their souls go to Themyscira, and then they get reborn there.
Wow.
Yeah, I read that's from that first
really dark and deep stuff. But cool that she wants to do that. And then I was talking to Joelle Jones, who's doing Wonder Girl, Yara Flor, and I told her like as being someone who is half Latino, my girlfriend's Latina, having this kind of character who is Latina is like huge. Like I love it.
Yeah.
And she was saying how she hopes like when she's done with this run that one day she can pass it on to a Latina writer, which would be really cool.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really good goal.
Stephanie Phillips is also working on a Wonder Woman story. And like I said, she's also writing Harley Quinn. And so obviously she was part of the Harley Quinn panel. As well as who earlier I mentioned Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, who are married. Dude, he is hilarious.
Dang.
I was laughing so much during that panel. But they're married. They worked on this for a few years. There's 3 Omnis, so a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And their whole thing was like, how do we create Harley Quinn as her own character away from the Joker? Like, what does she want? What does she fear?
Well, that's like, part of that's the initiative. That's the initiative the New 52 has had to like to make Harley her own person. You know what I mean?
And they went for it, man. They also like the geography that they use in their book is like accurate. Like they had maps and all this stuff everywhere.
That's cool.
Like, Amanda Connor's a map nerd, and so is Stephanie Phillips apparently. There's also a writer. Yeah, I get lost in my own house. Like it's bad. I don't really, but like I have zero sense of direction.
I was like, Josh, you might need to get that checked out.
You need glasses, bro.
Yeah.
So I had a concussion one time, and
Josh is wandering the floor of C2E2. He's just like, I can't find Wendy. I don't know where she is.
She's right next to him.
But and then another person on that panel, the Harley panel, her name is Cami Garcia. She wrote Harley Joker, Criminal Insanity. Graphic novel from Black Label, so that means it's outside of the continuity. But what's really cool is she actually consulted a psychiatrist who does freelancing for the FBI to do profiling for like criminals and stuff, because she wanted to make this book as realistic as possible. And her big thing was to make Harley Quinn a survivor of an abusive relationship.
Like abuse,
this is for the new Harley Quinn, you said?
This is like a standalone graphic novel. I have it on my shelf. I definitely want to read it after hearing how much work she put into this to try to make it like, what would a real psychologist be like who is being groomed by this psychopath to end up in an abusive relationship later on. Well,
one of the things that I'm loving about the way they're writing and presenting Harley Quinn now is that she's becoming aware of the abuse that she's been subject to. and like she's using her own, I guess, experience as a doctor, right? She's a doctor, if I'm not mistaken.
She has a PhD.
So she's using her own realization that like, oh, you know what? Like I am a subject of this. You know, I need to do what I need to do. I find that really cool. I find that component really, really, really nice.
Right, and I think the person who's really doing a great job of showing that is Stephanie Phillips, who is writing the current Harley Quinn. I met her at her table on Friday, and we had some small talk. Her favorite place, or one of her favorite places in Chicago, is Kuma's.
I love Kuma's.
I was like, wait. Which one?
The
Which
Belmont
one did she say? Oh,
dude,
she's an OG. She's an OG.
Kuma's is still my favorite place in Chicago, but Josh has definitely lured me into that.
If you aren't from Chicago, you have to visit Kuma's. If you
don't go to the one in Schaumburg,
it's okay.
It's cheeks.
It's okay. The Belmont one's pretty cool. There's a D&D theme bar down the street.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, no, talking to her was super cool. Harley issue 9 was a very emotional issue. So I was talking to her about that. She created a new character named Kevin. And it's kind of challenging, like what a hero looks like. Kevin is a fat guy who used to be a Joker henchman, and now he's trying to become a hero.
That's really funny because that is also a theme in the Harley TV show with Kite Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, no, it's cool. It's cool. The last issue of Harley that came out, issue 9, was really emotional. I really enjoyed it, so I was telling her about that.
Cool.
And Stephanie Phillips, she has her PhD in, I believe, composition and rhetoric. She is bisexual. She's Jewish, and she fights Muay Thai. So she's basically Harley Quinn. Because Harley Quinn is all those things. She has a PhD. She's bisexual. She's Jewish, and she can fight.
All right, that's weirdly specific. So
she's like, I'm living this character.
Yeah, the fact DC tapped her to write this, golden move.
I think you have to ask.
I feel like that's cheating. She's just writing about her life at this point.
Yeah, right. It's all true stories.
But, and like you were saying, there's no Joker in this. A big part of it is Harley trying to open up to being in a relationship again.
Yeah.
If you don't know, she used to be in a relationship with Poison Ivy.
Yes,
and they kind of are.
As the name suggests, a little toxic.
Go over that in the Gardner issue.
Exactly.
Weeks ago.
But at the end of the day, Harley in this run, she's trying to look for redemption, which I think it's cool. There's a new Joker girlfriend who can be a bad guy, so I'm fine with Harley going this route. But that's my personal take on that.
Yeah, I'll see how it goes.
Last person I'll talk about is Brian Azzarello, who's pretty famous for having written the Joker graphic novel a few years back. And in the panel I saw him in with Stephanie Phillips and Joelle Jones. At the end, he's very much grumpy old man, but funny at the same time, very dry humor. And at the end, he looks over, he's like, you know what? This is the first Batman panel I've ever done. This is a Batman panel with 2 women. He's like, that is really cool. And Joelle Jones and Stephanie Phillips were both saying how they don't want to touch the main Batman title because they don't want that kind of responsibility. And the last thing he said, he's like, you guys should do that. You could add a new perspective and do something different with it that hasn't been done.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
I thought that was so cool.
I thought
that was so cool. He said that.
Yeah.
So I hope they do that.
I do have one question though. I do have one last question.
What
was the best costume you saw?
I honestly don't know. You know what I'll do is if I have a picture of it, I will post it at some point on our social media to say
post it on
what I
socials.
like. I've been posting a lot of stuff from C2E2 if you follow us, if that's your thing. But
C2E2 is fun.
It's a blast. It's going to be again in August. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll see a lot of
early this year.
I think it's because they want to push this next one to August, so the following one is back in the spring.
Because I was like, wow, they did this in December. For those who don't know, it's usually in March, April-ish area. So they're probably trying to get it back in rotation. Yeah.
So that C2E2 in a nutshell. That's it. That's it for me.
Cool.
All right.
Should we get out of here?
Yeah, I think let's get
let's marinate a little bit.
Let's just sit here in silence.
Yeah, 4 minutes of silence.
Yeah, let's meditate.
If you're listening, I want you to take a moment and think about what you've done.
God!
What brought you to this point in your life?
I need a good outro song.
Thank you for listening to the meditation podcast. An hour of just straight silence. That would be an epic podcast. I might have to actually start that podcast. Yeah.
And I will make sure to never, ever listen to it.
You just don't want to meditate.
Yeah, I'm too lazy to meditate.
All right, let's get out of here. All right, that's it for our show. If you liked what you heard, subscribe so you can stay up to date on all of our content. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button. If you're on a platform that allows it, drop us a comment and or rating and tell us what you thought. Most of you are on Spotify and Apple, so those downloads, those follows, and those reviews really mean a lot to us because it helps our show to grow. It helps more people get to listen to it. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Bandwagon Fan Pod and on Facebook/YouTube at The Bandwagon Fan. We also have a Discord that we'll have linked in our socials. You can find episodes wherever you listen to your other favorite podcasts. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next one.
Bandwagon is hosted by Josh Jimenez, Alex Magosa, and me, AJ. Our show is produced and mixed by me, again. Our theme song is Lush Waves by Taylor Lewin of _audio. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon.